returning champions like Male. You got Book, Znui that are going to be coming in here. So definitely familiar names and faces. And it should still be a very good game squaring off against Panny and the boys in the law.
Yeah, so again, going back to that, what you're just talking about right there, it's just because it isn't the Reason Gaming necessarily doesn't mean we shouldn't have a good matchup here, because these are still all skilled players. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe all 5 of these players that are actually stepping in as the Ringers team, they've actually have some kind of DreamHack experience. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe it wouldn't surprise me. To say the least. So, with that said, they got that experience. Yes, in a sense, they are kind of, again, coming together clearly, a kind of last-minute type deal. And so there are a lot of factors that are basically making it a case of, sure, they're the underdogs going into this match, no doubt, but they can still make some things happen. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, however, we got the Law over here. Of course, this is also a newer team on the scene. They qualify for Dreamhack winner. Obviously, very excited. We got some Greek pride here. One of 2 Greek players, I might add. Of course, Panny playing for the Law, but this is a team again. Kind of some players, may not have been known before coming to this event, but also the other players are. Again, Panny, one name, Brodex 5 level, formerly of Team Excellent. It seems like he's found a new home here in the Law, and I'm sure he's pretty happy with this situation now.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. We talk about Brodex there, and he was part of Team Excellent, of course.
Yeah.
But going back to like cycle 3 or 4, and when they were really, really dominant, they were really good, placing top 2, top 3. They kicked Brodex. Excellent's not even here at Dreamhack. So
Brodex is sitting back like, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
That happened.
Q
No.
number 1, but no, he's here. He's here with the boys. Sequence. You got Jarl Lungen, Beaver, Panny. I mean, definitely some well-known names over there. And I think we got the camera that we were just taking a look at the players over there in the player pit, as we're getting pretty close here to being ready. But our second match of the day, Breaky, what's your prediction here? Put you on the spot.
Well, okay. Whoa. The Law has to be the team favorite, I think. It's mainly because of the Ringer situation. This is the team. Sure, they're all great players. They all have experience here at DreamHack. They're coming together last minute, though. The Law, although they've not been a top tier team necessarily, they qualify through this event, of course, through the Nordic qualifiers. Yeah. They've been looking pretty strong recently, both with Han Tour and both those Nordic qualifiers. They deserve to be here. Now, with that said, they know that this is a huge opportunity for them to prove themselves to the Han competitive community that, yes, not only do we deserve to be here, but we're going to compete. We're going to give our A+ effort. We're going to compete. So I am very curious, obviously, to see how that turns out for them, but definitely, I am expecting some good things out of the Law. If I had to choose, I would go with them.
You're going with the Law?
Yeah.
All right, I got Reason Gaming then. Got to be adversarial right here. So if Reason Gaming win, I look way better than Breaky. If they don't win, well, it was just a shot in the dark. But we'll have to see. I mean, in either case, Breaky, it should be a fantastic match.
Yeah.
It's going to have a lot to live up to because we just had a pretty good match there in Lions versus TMSR. But we'll see.
We had a great match. Of course, if you are just tuning in, of course, Lion Esports Club and TMSR, Too Much Sugar defeated Lions. It was a 60-plus minute match. It was a damn good way to kick off DreamHack winner 2013. But you know what else, Beef? It's a damn good way to continue here with Reason Gaming. Well, the Ringers versus the Law. Let's jump into the game. Game number 1 of a 1 games. I'll say that all the time. Even though it's a best of 1, I just say game number 1. It's a habit.
Nothing
Anyways,
wrong with that.
we got the Law taking a Ringer. I love these logos, by the way. These team logos they're the best logos that we have here at DreamHack, hands down.
The Law, they have a little star thingy. Why is it Franker Z? You know what? You can't question Franker Z, man. You can't question him. And Kappa on the other side absolutely makes sense right there. And
love it.
Man, they're not tagged up as Xfin. I thought they were going to be tagging up as Xfin here, Breaky. I'm a little bit disappointed.
There was rumors about go figure they're tagged up as Reason Gaming, though. It's like we're not going to be called Reason Gaming, but we're going to tag ourselves up as Reason Gaming.
Exactly.
Whatever, man.
Great.
Anywho, we are in the game, as you can see, and obviously we got some bands already kicking off right here. Ophelia Warbeast coming out from the Law. Ravener and then Kraken coming out from our Hellborn team over here. And the Ringers. Engineer is going to be that first pick. Yeah, Ravener Kraken bands coming out. That's not something we see too often as those bands there. So,
and when you're talking about these teams that are outside of your top 4, your top 5, they do tend to do things a little bit differently sometimes. Yeah. It's very unlikely you're ever going to see a game from Stay Green, IG, TMSR, Denial or Lions that's going to have a Scout coming out, not banned. Very unlikely that you're going to have a Keeper of the Forest or a Tempest coming out not banned, because it sets up a situation where the Hellborn team right now, they could pick a Keeper of the Forest or a Tempest, and then they're forcing their opponents to either pick that one, and then you can outdraft them in that way, or give them up the Keeper Tempest combination. In this case, I mean, they're just going all over the place. You know what they're going for, Breaky?
What's that?
Beard power.
That never works. That never works. You bring
Please.
it up all the time. That's never works, and that's never a thing.
No, it's
we'll go with
Dreamhack
that.
right here. Beard is the
power
word.
apparently coming
Beard
out.
is the word. Bird's not the word anymore. We've changed it up a little bit. Beard is the word.
You know, Archie, I got the chance to talk with Archie Tiger, obviously going to I got the chance to talk with a lot of players, frankly, but Archie Tiger made the point that they understand their situation. Again, they know that they're coming last minute, forming together. They're just going to have fun with it. They might bust out some crazy strategies, some different heroes, and that could definitely work to their favor. Not only because they're in that mindset that, like, you know, we have nothing to lose. We weren't even supposed to be here in the first place, so let's just have fun with it. And then on top of it being a best of the one. I mean, again, anything can happen. It really can. We've seen that all the time. Best of the ones, these are those trap series, you can call them, where if the law's not ready for these funky strategies, you know, something can happen. So I'm looking for that pick here from Reason Gaming. Something tells me we're going to get something fancy. Not just it, obviously, with the Master of Arms' first pick, but Keeper of the Force, a response from the Law. I am that Tempest right now for obvious reasons, so we'll see if they go with it, but who knows? Again, if they're going for something unique, something fun, maybe not.
Now, I will say, if the Law... Okay, it is going to be a Tempest. I was going to point out something. It's irrelevant now, but talking about passive versus active lineups right here. So Reason going to be going back into something a little bit more passive. I'm like, they already got a Master of Arms. It's a hero that does trialing quite well, but probably not going to be seeing that right now. So with an Engineer and a Keeper of the Forest, we'll see if they're going to be looking for maybe even another jungle. A Parasite still on the board right here if they wanted to run that Suicide Keeper. Maybe something to stun up with Engineer in the middle lane. You got heroes like Pebbles that are still on the board right here. Maybe get one of the hooking heroes, but there's another hero.
There's Flux. Flux coming out. Flux Engine combination speaks for itself, really. So not a huge surprise to see that coming out from the Law right there. And again, Flux is kind of a hero that's once again gaining traction here on the competitive scene. Specifically with State Green, they've been actually running it quite a bit lately. Limp has been the one playing it for State Green over there. So you see the final pick, Bubbles, actually coming out for Reason Game. And you can kind of see right there, too. A lot of the teams do this, especially at these LAN events. They'll be huddled up around one another, you know, deciding the picks and the bands together. I believe that's the Law right there, kind of going over their situation and talking about what they want to pick and ban here. There you see the Wretched Hag ban coming out from them, speaking of that. But yeah, they have the strong mid lane set up with the Keeper, with the Engineer Flux, and it got the Keeper of the Force with that Suicide option. So the short lane, perhaps a jungle option if that's left open. We'll see what it comes down to for the Legion team over here. But also, the Ringers need to figure out what they're going to do. Yeah. Both teams using some good extra time here as we step up even.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different from what we saw with Lions at TMSR, where they were talking about having really picked out what they might have wanted to do really early on. They had plenty of time to think about it and drafted rather quickly, at least at this point.
Our monitor TV is about to. A monitor TV is giving us a countdown that it's going to turn off.
Is this a bomb?
We're getting slightly distracted right here.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure what was going on.
So we're all like both looking. What does this mean? Is the whole production going to stop in 10 seconds?
Oh no, we're done.
Is it all
we're
just
done? We're fired.
Done? No.
Everybody's done. Shut down Dreamhack.
So anyway, moving on with the band. So Wretched Hag, Dampier, Moon Queen coming out here so far. So very carry heavy, to say the least, coming out when it comes to the bands. Obviously, from both these sides, now dabbling back in a Reason, I keep seeing that tag, and I want to say Reason.
You know what? Just do it. Just do it, Breaking.
If they're tagging up Reason Gaming, we might as well call them Reason Gaming, right?
Definitely.
So anyways, the Hellborn team over here, they have the Dampier band. They're spending a lot of time, man, thinking about these bands. I mean, we're already down to 15 seconds of extra time. That's not going to leave them a whole lot for those final two picks, and obviously that's pretty important. So they're insisting, though. This
kind of comes back to a team that maybe hasn't played a ton together.
Yeah.
You might normally be able to say, hey, this is one of my players' best heroes. We're going to go ahead and pick that one up right now. You kind of need to gauge your players a little bit more, see who's got that synergy, see who's comfortable with it. But it puts you into a situation where your momentum might be affected here, because I know at least Swinnerbones, he sees that somebody's used a ton of time.
Yeah.
He's going to go ahead and just snap,
rush them,
rush them, make sure that they have no additional time maybe even just get a little bit of an advantage from right there.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Currently, it looks like it's going to be Rally and Sandwraith as our final bans here. So getting rid of that Rally. Don't want to see the Rally Master of Arms combination coming out. And a quick Pestilence right here from the Law.
Yeah, obviously, again, very just carry-heavy bans coming out between both teams even. With those bans, obviously, both teams do need to carry hero still to an extent at least. Depends on what you want to do ultimately. But Pestilence is going to be that pickup for the Law. And this is shaping up to possibly be more that 2-2-1 style setup. Maybe even a short lane Pestilence to come out here from the Law. So I'm actually curious to see if that is going to be the case or not.
I think it's going to be Engineer Pestilence.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, Flux, he definitely can lane with the Engineer in the middle lane, but most teams prefer to use him in either a solo long or a solo short role. And Arachna coming out right now, Breaky. So definitely one that we don't see too often, but we've seen some teams use this with great effect.
Yeah.
I think Ready for a Miracle, or I think they were one that, like, for like a weekend, they were just like, we got the spider, game's over.
Hero.
Yeah. And everybody's like, is Arachna the next big thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess so. No, it died off pretty quickly.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. But you know, with the Arachna, this goes back to kind of that first oddball pickup, not only of the tournament, but again, being the ringers. It's like I said, it was kind of expected. They were going to do something that tried to throw the other team off guard a little bit. Arachna's not necessarily this crazy over-the-top hero by any means. I mean, she does have a play. She is a solid farming hero, or a solid carry hero, I should say. I mean, her farm potential is actually pretty damn weak, but she is a solid carry hero. And, you know, she could be good for the kiting factors against heroes like this Pestilence. And on top of that, the Keeper of the Forest with the Nature's Veil, the Spider Sting will go through the Invis. So there are a couple of reasons why this Arachna pick could actually be pretty solid here. And then even the Magnus on top of that to finish off from our Hellborn team. Now, this again leads in. What are we going to see with lanes, though? I'm actually very curious because of what they chose. I would assume it's going to be a short lane Arachna Master. You got your Solos, Magnus, and Bubbles, but unless they want to just do that, I guess they could do the Master Magnus mid with the Arachna solo at the top lane even, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they do, obviously.
Yeah, if they feel that they can contest the Pestilence Engineer in the middle, then I think that they will throw that Master of Arms there with Magnus, but we'll see. I think a lot of it's going to be up to how the Legion team lanes. If the Legion team opts to throw anybody other than Keeper of the Forest up top, I think you might see Master of Arms actually making his way up there, but there's not a whole lot of options unless they want to throw that tri-lane up there. Pestilence as well as Engineer and Torture, but that could work, it could not work. So I think they're probably going to go pretty standard here, though. Keeper of the Forest, definitely a hero that could go up top, but he's already got stacked regen and some odd items in the Iron Buckler as well as the Guardian Ring here on Keeper.
Yeah.
So definitely not the typical hatchet that you would be expecting.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually very interesting to see on the Keeper of the Forest going the Guardian Ring, so the early Ring of the Teacher to be coming out. But you know, I am thinking more and more about this idea you bringing up of the possible, you know, the Law that could definitely run an aggressive trial, and I kind of like that option. I mean, again, especially if your Tempest is going to be up there, no matter if Master is going to be with the Arachna or not for the beginning. Running that aggressive trial, and it really forces the ringers to make an adjustment that they might not like in the end, or maybe just have to say, screw it, we have to kind of stick with this. If anything, try to send Tempest to the other jungle, but then that can cause issues once the rotation happens. So I actually think an aggressive trial, and it wouldn't be out of the question here. For the Law, you got a Flux and a Keeper of the Forest to play those solo roles in the lane, and definitely could have some, you know, Keeper of the Forest, especially if he has that bottom lane, perhaps matched up against the Bubbles. You know, I think he could do just fine down there in that bottom lane, and in the short lane especially. So, but, you know, at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if the Law, of course, does more the conventional, the 2-2-1, which is probably, once again, what we're going to see here. But we are at a pause, as you can also see, to get things kicked off. Once again, these teams' first games here at this LAN event, and as always, a time to make some changes and make sure everything is good to go before going into the game. So
absolutely, and looks like one team ready up right there, the other one not quite. And I mean, there was a point in time, Breaky, that you used to say a game was not competitive until you had that competitive pause.
Yeah.
And well, we're certainly harkening back to those days a little bit, but I want to touch on what you were saying as well in terms of the aggressive tri-lane. I think I'm a pretty big fan of that as well. I mean, Arachna, definitely a hero that's not going to fare the best, so I really do like that option. You then throw your Keeper of the Forest into short against the Bubbles. Definitely a matchup where he doesn't need that hatchet. Just get them regen, then get the mana regen from the Ring of the Teacher, and he can definitely hold his own down there. I think that's going to be the Law's best bet. but we'll have to see in just a moment here coming up, because it looks like we are going to get unpaused.
Yeah, it looks like they're ready. You saw them sitting back in their chairs, and the ready's come out. It looks like I'd ignored chat on for some reason. I don't even know why. So
Fixed.
It is fixed now, though. So now we can actually see the chat, and hopefully that is all good to go on top of everything else. All right, so here we are. Our next game here. Again, something we haven't even noticed yet, but of course there is the other match happening right now. As always, there's going to be the two matches happening side by side. Myth S2Y is taking on Denial Esports over there. They actually got started a little bit earlier, but that match is currently happening, and I believe the Arena stream is even casting that one as well, so you can even get some dual streaming going on here for the Dreamhack Winter 2013 event. But it's going to be fun to see how that one turns out. Again, we were talking about the beginning beef. Myth S2Y, what are they going to bring to the table? They have a fun matchup there against Denial Esports to really prove a lot of people that they're here to play. So,
yeah, Denial's definitely going to be that team that if they take them down right here, everybody's going to be paying attention to what Myth does.
Oh, yeah.
Denial, a lot of people would probably rank them like 4th or 5th right now, right behind TMSR, Lions, and Stay Green. Probably right in that same position as IG. And if you're able to take down that team, you're making a huge statement. In a best-of-1 format, it's a lot easier to really come out with something the other team's not expecting and then just say right then and there, we're here to play. And Myth, they did not fly from halfway across the world to come over here and lose out in the group stages.
No.
They want to make it to the semis. They want to fight for pride in the region because they're the only representatives from the SEA region here.
Yeah, that's actually, I was actually going to follow up with that. I mean, that goes back to, previous events. We've had a couple of Southeast Asian teams. We've had, CIS region every now and then come, Latin America even in previous events. But this time, they are the only outside team, outside of the North American, European region, of course, that is coming to this Dreamhack event. So they're really representing, they're very proud. They're very proud. They're here to prove themselves, not only for themselves, but also their region, that they can compete with the North American, European players. So they're in a sense, there's definitely a lot of that pressure on the line for them as well. But again, it's going to be interesting to see what the result stands against Denial Esports. And that could also tell a lot in that group A over there. State Green, of course, they're on top right now. They defeated Internet Gangsters in their first match. Maybe for that third place spot, even second or third place spot. So again, not to look too far ahead. There's still plenty of matches to be played throughout today and tomorrow in the group stages. But again, you only play 4 games in total, and they're all best of the ones. Everyone is so important, obviously. So here we are, though. Okay, it looks like both of the teams are actually getting comfortable now, and I think we should be finally good to go to have things move along here in this series of the Law versus the Ringers. Again, this is a Group B matchup. Of course, TMSR, they're starting off 1-0. They just defeated Lion Esports Club, who surprisingly is 0-1, but again, it's their toughest matchup that they have to face off first. So,
and taking a look at these lanes and how they're breaking down, it looks like it probably is going to be a 2-2-1 strategy here.
Okay.
Which was definitely possible, but I thought this would be maybe even the least likely out of them. But choosing to go Engineer Pestilence and then throw Flux Torture up top. So, I mean, you think about it, with Flux Torture, it's like, hey, there's not really a ton of synergy there. There's like a slow and a stun, and they get a lot of damage. They're probably going to be able to zone this Arachne out relatively effectively, and then once they get some boots, if they happen to catch Tempest out of position, maybe a kill right there, but actually, Tempest is on the other side of the map here, changing up jungles.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, you look at, we're so focused on the Legion team as I was too, but then I just noticed or the Ringers, I mean, you see what they're doing again. In fact, the Rev Ward's put down. Sequence going to take a little bit of pressure right here, but now he knows they definitely have a Rev Ward, so we'll see if that comes into play. But anyways, they chose to send the Magnus Master of Arts bottom Tempest in the opposite jungle, and I believe that has to do a lot with simply the case of they were expecting some aggressive play out of the Law, so they definitely got that from the Law. So it seems like that this could prove to be the correct decision for them. This means Magnus should be in a pretty prime spot to actually get some decent farm, and also Tempest, for that matter, being in his own jungle. In fact, I wonder if the Law even realizes that yet. I don't know if they've seen Tempest actually in his own jungle or not, but he's going to be fine, and he's going to be off to a good start. Is Papa Malley playing that Tempest? So I definitely like the decision making here, specifically from our Hellborn team, in terms of how they chose to lane here.
Man, I just nostalgia'd pretty hard saying Papa Male on Tempest. Like, we haven't seen this guy play in quite some time since QSQ broke up. That was back in March, after they lost out in the playoffs for Haunt Tour.
Yes, sir.
And so, I mean, it's been 7 or 8 months, I think, since I've seen Male playing, but definitely going to be really excited to see him. So far, though, I mean, things shaping up for both teams. up top. They have rotated the Master of Arms up top to babysit Arachna, though. And so this is going to be really interesting. I would definitely favor Master of Arms Arachna here as both farmers and actually getting some kills in this lane, especially if they were ever to get some assistance, maybe from somebody like that Bubbles, if he were to get a top rune. So definitely a good rotation right there, leaving Magnus to suicide 1v1 against Keeper of the Forest. I think St. Rox is going to have no trouble whatsoever in this bottom lane.
Oh, no, and yeah, in fact, he's probably pretty damn good against Keeper of the Forest with that volcanic touch.
Absolutely.
You know, the minions being spawned from Keeper of the Forest, if anything, he's like, thank you for that. So, yeah, that makes sense what, again, the Hellborn team is doing here. So I'd like to say, again, this is a team that they came together kind of last minute. They're definitely making some solid decisions here as far as the lanes go and as far as what they need to be doing. But we'll see how it all plays out, obviously. And the execution part is definitely the next big one when it comes down to it. So Arachna, though, his creep farm. Let's take a look at the stats tab. We got Arachna currently 3 and 4. Flux is 10 and 6. So this exchange did come a little bit later on, but still, Arachna's not managing to have the best of time with this creep farm. A lot of denies coming out between Torture and Flux, 10 in total. That's obviously having plenty to do against Archie Tiger here, playing that Arachna. You see, middle lane Bubbles a little bit of harassment on Engineer, but he's going to be fine. I assume Pestilence having a good time. Yeah, he's 16 and 4 against the Bubbles, who's 9 and 1. But yeah, Arachna is struggling, though, to get some decent creep farm here at the top lane, Beef.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit concerned. You mentioned Archer Tiger playing the Arachna, and I mean, these guys are all very good Han players. I mean, minimum you're talking like 1900, 1950 TMM type players. They've all got competitive experience, but Archie generally played junglers, and I don't know. I mean, in terms of a hero like Arachna, I'm just a little bit worried that he's being out CS'd. He's clearly maybe trying to shake off a little bit of that rust right here, but 130 GPM is not going to be where you want for your short lane Arachna.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're going to be able to get easy kills up here up top by any means. Your Flux already has boots, you got 853 life, so tanky on that hero, so gonna have to step something up, and maybe that'll be rotation from Bubbles, as he's going for the top rune here, and not gonna choose to go for the Shell Surf, saying not worth it. And now Bubbles with no Shell Surf is being zoned out here by Pestilence as well. So overall, I mean, the Law, they're definitely showing that they've got the map control a little bit in the middle lane, getting the rune control as well, but especially in this bottom lane, it seems like they're losing control of some of the resources here, and their jungler, of course, having a very good time as well.
Yeah, if that was a powerful rune right there, I think Bubbles might have actually gone for it, but in the end, again, it's just, it wasn't worth it. It was only the refreshment rune, so he's like, yeah, not worth it, any turnaround potential. I'm just going to go ahead and stay here. He also had a full bottle at the time, so Book making a solid decision there. Again, a player that's definitely been at Dreamhack several times before himself. The Danish Dynamite, going back to the old school days. Really the first Dreamhack, man. Those bring back some good memories right there. Speaking of that, though, going back to Arachna here at the top side, I want to talk about that a little bit more. Again, going back to Arachna, he is, as I stressed, this is not a hero that is the best farming hero. He doesn't really have that farming tool with the AoE presence. I mean, the right-click, the single target, sure, is definitely there, but he's not a hero that's going to be able to recover the easiest. So that's even more reason why this Hellborn team, they might struggle because of that. So Archie Tiger definitely has this work cut out for him, to say the least. Flux, in the meantime, though, it's not like Flux is having a fantastic time. I mean, Flux himself is only at 207 gold per minute, so frankly, both sides up here at this top lane are doing pretty damn poor when it comes down to it. So then you look at some other factors. Tempest, 260 GPM himself. He is the top farmer on his team. The top farmer overall right now, though, is that Pestilence. You look at Brodex 5 level, he is looking at 320, 330 GPM now in that middle lane. So Portal Key, obviously, in the works. Probably going to upgrade the boots at least first, though, and then go from there. So honestly, a pretty slower game here to start things off. Yeah,
definitely not too much action, and that's actually going to give the resource advantage here to Reason. And just because of the rotation that's been coming out of Papa Male, he's not at 300 gold per minute, but pretty close. But he's managed to stay safe, and now he's coming up top, Ricky. He's looking like he wants to set up a kill, and if Flux is not careful, he's going to be the victim right here. And Tempest really wants this. Oh, they're going to grab Torture as he comes up right now.
Oh, will they? Will they? Master Vonsi once got him off. Now he's going to go for Flux. Can Tempest get a range? There's the stuns. He has an ultimate. No, he doesn't anymore. He spawns some minions. It doesn't matter though. Flux goes down. Archie Tiger getting credit for the Bloodlust kill. So talk about a huge kill right there. A struggling Arachna picks up the Bloodlust, and now all of a sudden he jumps up to about 280 gold per minute. That's also going to allow him to finish the Steam Boots right there. So that was an absolutely huge kill for a Hellborn team. Great assistance from Papa Male, playing the Tempest, of course.
Yeah, getting out of the jungle, getting his job done. So he's going to continue farming well. But, I mean, overall, Ringers Gaming here is definitely looking quite solid. I mean, maybe we underestimated these guys a little bit now, Breaky.
Well, maybe, I mean, middle lane, Book is actually going to get caught, so the law says, wait a second, we're a damn good team ourselves, and we just got a kill, so it's still early on, so I don't want to get too ahead by any means, but actually top lane, Architect getting another kill, and now chasing Flux. I don't think he's going to get killed over here, but damn, I mean, that's another big kill. So again, the middle kill for Pestilence, obviously big as well for the Law. But the Ringers, they are starting to make a little bit more of a statement here. And you also kind of wonder how that affects the Law. Again, if you're the Law on the other hand, you are trying to prove yourselves that you are coming into this kind of, being the underdogs overall. But in this matchup, a lot of teams would definitely maybe favor you. So you kind of wonder if that's a little bit of pressure on their shoulders in terms of figuring, well, we kind of have to win this or it's going to be pretty embarrassing almost to lose here. But again, I say that lightly, though, because the Ringers, like I said, this is a skilled team. They have the players. It's just more so the coming together last minute does obviously worry you the most. But it's early on. So far, pretty even game. In fact, a slight advantage here for our Hellborn team once again. Bottom lane, Keeper of the Force and Magnus continuing to beat away at one another. Magnus 36-3. You got Keeper of the Force. He's 36-12. So, well, pretty back and forth. Oh, top lane, though. Master of Arms gets caught in the jungle as Flux, NG, and Torturer all collapse on him out of nowhere. Yeah, a lot of commitment being made right there to get that kill, but they bring it home, and more importantly, that's going to scare off Tempest a little bit. Say, hey, you're not as safe in this jungle as you might have thought. Maybe even gets the thought into his head that maybe there's even a ward down somewhere. So he's going to be definitely farming a little bit more cautious. But this Magnus versus Keeper matchup that you're talking about, I'm looking at the damage here, and Magnus with his level 3 Lava Touch is going crazy with the damage right here, Breaky. And 25% of the damage done in this game. So Saint definitely bringing it home here in the suicide lane. But Keeper, he's not too worried. He's been using his creeps to jungle while he's actually in the lane here as well. So bringing some additional gold in that way. So yeah, he's getting it done right there. He's showing he's the micromaster. Yeah, again, both of them definitely having a solid time. Now, it's just a question of when will they start making an impact for their team. Keeper of the Force, obviously, he can start grouping up, pushing some towers on top of that, using a big root cooldown. In the meantime, Magnus also very similar. He can start playing aggressive, use that Lava Surge. He's level 8 right now. But neither side, they are just committing to just farming this bottom lane. Top lane, Engineer's up here. He's level 6. There could be a possible opportunity because Flux is level 6 as well. And I think they're going to be looking at back to the bottom lane. Keeper of the Force in trouble. Here comes Tempest as well. And yes, Keeper of the Force is going to fall right through. The root goes off, but Magnus is going to easily walk away as well as Tempest. So Keeper of the Force, a big wasted cooldown there. Yeah, really questionable root right there. That's kind of harkens back to one of the things we talked about in the olden days, especially with like a Hellbringer, where you have a long cooldown and you just kind of use it last second. Got to discipline yourselves if you are trying to be one of those top teams. And in this case, not going to be available for 120 seconds. That means that the Hellborn team's going to be a lot more willing to actually take any fights. And one of those fights might be shaping up here in the top lane, as it looks like the Legion are going to be pushing down this tower. There's the Flux ultimate coming in. Pulls him in, silence. Master of Arms gets knocked back again. Release coming out on Flux. Down goes Master of Arms. The chase is on. Torture going in. The Spiderling is out. Here comes the Shell Surf. Torture going to be turned on. Flux in trouble. Jarl's Longin's going to be falling down as well. Kelfield in the background. Pestilence gets the Impale set off. Will he be able to get a kill with it? He's going to be locked in himself. The stuns from Tempest isn't going to be enough to save Arachna. The Tempest ultimate, a lockdown Pestilence. Arachna will stay alive, and they turn it right there. Archie Tiger getting credit for the kill of everyone there, and they are going to hold out the tower on top of that. Beautiful fighting coming out from the Ringers. And wow, I mean, I don't think the Law was expecting that end result right there. No, beautiful response coming out from the Ringers right there. And they're able to clean up a lot of kills. And I gotta say, once again, I mean, that almost comes down to Keeper of the Force not having his root. If he was able to walk up there, get a root on 3 players, there was 3 that were like 10% life when Tempest used that ultimate. That's a kill on at least 2 or 3 players, but unfortunately, Sequence not able to be there. He's instead farming and pushing the bottom lane. This is the kind of momentum that you're really looking for when you go with a pick like this Arachna, like this Magnus. You want to be looking for that early portal key, and Magnus is now 300 gold away from that PK. Yeah, it really seemed like, once again, the Law was getting the job done. They were locking in Arachna. That's what the plan was with that aggressive strategy, but as he got the bloodlust kill, all of a sudden that started to turn someone. Beautiful play from Saint Rocks right there. while I'm rambling on, he's making a nice stun to then deny the tower with the perfect timed auto attack. So that was an excellent play, really, coming out from Magnus, and he's going to continue to farm in the bottom lane. He's got to be working towards that. Yeah, I was going to say, he's got to have that portal key soon, and sure enough, he purchases it right there. So he's got a very early on portal key. A 12-minute PK going to be coming out for him. 1,800 gold on Tempest. I assume the Astrolabe is going to be finished by him as, yeah, there you go. Astrolabe picked up by Papa Mally. So the items are definitely starting to come together really strong now for the Hellborn side. And it all goes back to, again, Architect on Arachna. Look at his GPM all of a sudden. 340 gold per minute. This is Arachna that was struggling to be 200 in the early on phase because he was just being shut down. So he has Energizer, Steam Boots. What are you thinking, by the way, Beef, with Arachna's build here? Is it going to be the farming, the Fireman, more the aggressive Assassin Shroud? I mean, what would you think you would go here?
I think that because of the early portal key here on Magnus, they're going to be able to get really, really aggressive. So she's already got the Energizer and the Steam Boots right now. That's really going to be her core for getting those kills. And yeah, I think that the Firebrand is definitely going to be a next core item right here. I wouldn't even necessarily call that like a hyper farming item. It's going to give her the attack speed, damage, and mobility to really allow her to get in and out of those fights more efficiently. So I'd like to see that one next, but looks like Master of Arms going to be coming mid. Maybe setting up a defense. Magnus is channeling that ult.
Oh, there's the eruption, but the Law was too quick right there. He does get a couple of creep kills in the process, so at least there's something, I guess. And it does thwart them off initially, so although no kills come out of it, they will be able to hold off this middle push, and in the end, the Law's going to fall back. So again, not the worst ultimate ever, honestly, from St. Rocks, but it is unfortunate that he missed an opportunity right there. But look at Pestilence. He takes an invis from Keeper of the Forest. They want to try to maybe make something happen here still, as they're going to be hanging around. It's him, Keeper of the Forest, and Engineer. They're charging in, but not going to be able to get close to anyone by any means. So that will be the end of that, as, again, a good hold coming out from the Law right there. And, you know, also looking at Arachna, so again, thinking of the next item, something we forgot to mention, too, that's obviously very important, and it kind of goes back to this Arachna pickup. She's pretty solid against Keeper of the Forest, too, because of that hardened carapace being able to get out of the root, obviously. And so I was kind of leaning towards the Geometer's Bane for that reason as well. But, you know, being that she has a hardened carapace, I can see a Geometer's Bane might not be absolutely necessary by any means. Middle lane, Kelfield used, but tower still falls in the Law's favor.
Yeah, I mean, that Kelfield was certainly interesting. Master of Arms gonna get dragged in right here, though, Breaky. Tempest right through the energy field is gonna go down. Pestilence going hard into 3 players, though. Lava Surge and Arachna with the uphill auto attacks. Gonna try to finish off Pesty, but it looks like the Ringers are in full retreat.
Oh, Pestilence has an invis this whole time. He's gonna come over with the impel. Master of Arms will fall. Arachna's in trouble. Beautiful line stun. The Tempest ultimate, but it's stopped by the chain reactions from Torture off to the side. But it might not matter. Look at Bubbles in the background. Saga the Sea coming out. Torture's dropping. The Meteor's doing plenty of damage right here. Dust gonna be used. Sequence will be picked off. Torture also in trouble. Magnus chasing him with that portal key. He has another stun coming up in 5 seconds. Bubbles is now chasing as well. Torture should fall right here. Penny, yep, one more auto attack. The Lava Surge, anything. There you go. Torture will fall. A double tap for St. Rocks, and they're not done just yet. Flux still might be in trouble. In fact, Magnus finds him. He does not have enough mana for that Lava Surge just yet. He needs the 140. He's only at 115.
He's going to have Mana Ring in 2 seconds here from Tempest, and that might be what they need. Tempest going to go for it, and Lava Surge is available. Flux going to try to turn around Breaky, but it's not going to matter. Lava Surge not even needed. Papa Male cleans that one up, and holy crap. Ringers up with double the hero kills right here and a massive resource advantage 15 minutes in.
Yeah, making a statement indeed. Talk about the Tempest ultimate again. Canceled immediately. Looking like it was going to be a huge Tempest ultimate. Chain reactions though from Panny came out immediately to stop it, but it didn't matter. I mean, their team was ready to fight. Bubbles did a good job in the background. Arachna was just penning in auto attacks. And clearly by that time, the Law, they took a fight right there that they were not going to win in the end. So 16 minutes in, as you said, double the hero kills, 10-5 hero kill advantage in favor of the Ringers. You have a 4,000 gold lead, 7,000 experience lead. And most importantly, though, too, Arachna's continuing to really improve. In fact, she bought something. I don't see anything on the courier, so I'm actually very curious what she ultimately is going for here still. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer. But they're now going to be pushing the top tower. You see Pestilence there, throwing out the Swarm. He has 1,600 plus gold saved up himself, by the way. So Brodex 5 level is really stressing towards that portal key. Going to be a little bit more time, though.
Yeah, when you're talking about what Arachna might have bought, I think it's got to be either a Firebrand or a Shrunken Head. One of those two. Shrunken Head would maybe even be a little bit more fighting-oriented, because when you're going up against a Flux NG, if you don't have a Shrunken Head as an Arachna, you will die. Like, it's just going to happen. It's a matter of time. So that's going to enable her to really stand tall and actually fight. But looks like they are going to glyph up here, trying to defend this tower up top. The Legion team definitely doesn't want to let this go immediately. There's a dust going off, trying to catch for any scary keeper plays. But in the end, the tower drops. The Legion team committed quite a bit into glyph use, as well as 4 players being there to actually trying to defend that, and they weren't able to.
Yeah, and Bubbles goes immediately to the bottom lane. The secondary tower is kind of being pushed by Keeper the Force, but he pushes it back, and that ends up being a huge swing once again for the Ringer. So as far as the law is concerned, it just keeps going back. Just Pestilence, they really need that portal key, because also as this game is picking up, the more and more you're realizing is that the Law built a very mid-game heavy team. I mean, this was not a team that was hoping to get into the later game stage and win from there by any means. They want the earlier farm and Pestilence, the early PK, the flex to get an early start. It's all about that team fight and initiation, which definitely still has potential and is still very scary. But again, it goes back to Arachna with that Firebrand purchase. She is no doubt going to be the hard carry in this game with the farm that she has. A portal key is going to be coming on Bubbles as well. As actually, he's going to buy it from the side shop right there. So now him and Magmus. In fact, Magmus already has another 2,300 gold saved up. So Samrock's continuing to be a huge factor here. 390 gold per minute farming on this Magmus. He is doing plenty of work for his team. In fact, that was a misclick. I was going to say Warp Cleft. He actually goes to Soul's Bulwark, though. Interesting. That's more of a defensive-minded Soul's Bulwark, I gotta think.
Yes and no. I mean, getting the Arachna with precision, plus the Soul's Bulwark actually enables you to break base towers really, really early.
True.
So, I mean, if they are able to take a team fight, then they're going to be able to maybe do that, adding to their siege potential a little bit more. But I definitely don't mind that Soul's Bulwark, and keeping it on defensive, at least for right now, will enable them to do Conquer maybe a little bit earlier, and then, of course, physical damage from Pestilence. Overall, I've got absolutely no problems with the pickup right here from Magmus, and Saint showing, I mean, kind of similar to Brodex. He was kicked out of his team, and Saint's back in the team now and in the driver's seat, and he's like, hey guys,
remember me?
I'm a really good player. I don't really know why you didn't want me, but I'm here and I'm gonna win stuff.
Well, again, it's kind of, it goes back to this is like not even that Reason Gaming team really in the end. So it is kind of funny though seeing him wearing that tag though, when he was the one that kind of, you know, was left behind when they made that name change from Justice League to Reason Gaming. But here he is, as he said, being kind of a leader for the team. But here we go, initiation from Pestilence. They're fighting. There's the combo coming through with Flux. Look at the beautiful kick. Arachna's going to fall. Tempest, he gets the ultimate off. He's taking some damage on Magnus, doesn't. Tempest will eventually fall, but the counter from the Hellboy team. It looks like the Ringers, wow, they are going to be able to make enough happen. We do have a pause coming out. That is a very awkward timing. Oh, God. Okay, he's going to stun right there. Apparently, there's an issue with Sequence not being able to use his skills. That's unfortunate, but right there, that was a pretty big fight coming out, to say the least. That Tempest ultimate, although he died in the end, I mean, that he was pretty much got a full channel off.
I cannot believe he got that channel off. We're seeing some really clutch Tempest ults here today, Breaky, and that was gorgeous. I mean, I thought that Engineer ultimate and then the keg, they threw out the defensive Master's Call on Tempest, and I'm like, oh, he's going to be okay unless he hits the perfect keg. And then it was the perfect keg. Knocks him back in, purges it right off immediately, but that Tempest ultimate gets it off just in time for Magmus to come on in. I think that Saint even might have had a second there to actually channel up the ultimate. If he had ulted in when Bubbles ulted in with the silence, I mean, that was four. That was four dead.
Yeah, there's no eruption on top of all that. So here we go, though. After the pause, Pestilence jumping back in. Magmus on the run with that Haze Drew, and Pestilence is blocking Keeper the Force, but he's doing some damage to Master Runs. Keeper the Force will fall right there, and now Magmus going on with Pestilence. Bubbles with assistance, but Magmus going to fall, and Bubbles realizing it's probably not a fight he's going to win anymore. He's trying to get out of there, so when it's all said and done, Pestilence, what a part! He knew exactly where the puck was going! A hat-trick coming out for Brodex. Wow, that was a beautiful port by him. I mean, he knew exactly where that shell surf was going, Beef.
Yeah, that was great. I was watching him steamboot toggle right there. Made sure to use the bottle as well as the power supply to get maximum mana. Had just enough mana for the portal key and the impale right there. Legion gets a tower up top as well. So Law saying, all right, guys, we might have underestimated you just a little bit right there. We're going to take this a little bit more seriously. We're going to go ahead and close up that resource gap and start bringing home kills ourselves. So as soon as Keeper was able to start pressing buttons right there, Astrolabe goes off, and then Brodex 5 level. We've all known him to be that clutch player. He does it big right there for the Law.
Oh, yeah.
And definitely coming out on top. So they're showing they got a lot of fight left in them, and now it's going to be waiting for that next big set of items. Shrunken Head maybe coming out on Pestilence next.
Like I said, it just goes back to the wombo combo potential here of the Law. The team fight potential, we saw that last fight. Although, after the fact, I mean, again, the Ringers were able to eventually fight back, but obviously the end result was still in favor of the Law, and again, a big part of that was because of that wombo combo factor. Now, middle lane, Pestilence is actually pushing up. He did run over a Rev Ward with this Invis, so they know exactly where he's at. So Bubbles, if it wasn't for that Rev Ward, Bubbles very likely could have been picked off right here, but he had the Rev Ward, he saw Pestilence coming, and as a result, he is more than fine. So that is good to see for him. You look at Arachna in the meantime, so she has that Firebrand. She buys a Mighty Blade. I find it hard to believe, of course, it's going to be a Frostburn, so we'll probably see that Shrunken Head going to be coming out, but he wishes he had it sooner than later. Here comes the initiative. Oh, the initiative just a little late. He was just outside of it. In comes the Impel. Will it still be enough? Arachna trying to cut away. There comes the keg on top of the turret, and it will be a death for Archie Tiger. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, though, 2 players fall. Flux and Torturer both go down in the Hellborn's favor. So, I mean, they lose Archie Tiger on Arachna, but they do pick up a hero kill, a couple of hero kills, and now they're going to be pushing mid here.
Yeah, Eruption and Kelpfield were used, though, to actually pick up those kills. So some big cooldowns definitely being spent here by the Hellborn team. So not going to be able to take a full-on team fight, but as soon as these players are up, they're probably going to back up. Until then, they've got a bit of a power play and probably going to be able to take down this defensive tower. Legion team not going to have a whole lot to actually defend it. Yeah, going to go down. So once again, the Hellborn team starting to rack up those resources once again. And
yeah.
And Papa Male, level 14 right now, 350 gold per minute. Saint Rock's level 15. Like, holy crap, these levels breaky.
It's pretty impressive. Saint Rock's, again, continuing to be really the big factor for his team right here. 400 plus GPM. I mean, it is impressive to see here on this Magnus play. And this is a suicide Magnus in the end. I mean, granted, it wasn't somewhat of a favorable matchup even, but still. Being that suicide long lane Magnus. So, yeah, he's definitely proved to be doing a great job. He's going to continue farming bottom. And it looks like he is going for that Shrunken Head himself. And I don't know how I feel about that. Shrunken Head's kind of those weird items on a hero like Magnus, where he's all about, you know, going in initially with the Eruption channel, with the Lava Surge stun, and then whatever happens after that, you know, not the biggest skill in the world. He's done in the majority of his job. I mean, yes and no. Yes, having the Shrunken Head will allow him to get out of the root eventually and, you know, be able to work on from there, maybe for the energy filled use as well, but
I'm a little bit different there. I think that Eruption might not even be as important in this scenario. Being able to get off 2 or 3 stuns, each on at least 2 people, hopefully, is going to be really, really big. The ability to reset and go back in is going to be one of the strengths of this Hellborn team. And Magnus is not going to be able to do that without a Shrunken Head, going up against the Engineer Flux combination. So in this case, he's not going to be worrying so much about that Eruption, but being able to stay alive and then stay relevant in these team fights for more than 5 seconds or something. So I'm personally a pretty big fan of going the Shrunken Head here. Finish up the Demonic Breastplate a little bit later on. But Magnus is a slippery hero to begin with. With your Lava Surge, your Portal Key, your Steam Bath, these are all things that are going to lend you mobility, lend you staying power in these team fights. And if you got a Shrunken Head, there's almost nothing on the Legion team that should be able to kill you.
Yeah, again, it goes back to what could you have gotten instead of that item. And, you know, obviously something like Sheepstick is really something that is off the top of my head. But, yes, that is a lot more expensive than a Shrunken Head. So it's hard to sit here and say, well, I rather would have seen that because by the time, if he was going for that, you know, maybe the game would have been a little different with that build-up and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, the Shrunken Head definitely has its purpose. It's a good point to make up. But we are now coming up to 25 minutes here. We have a 15 to 11 hero kill lead in favor of the Ringers. It's obviously a 4,700 gold lead, 6,600 experience lead for them. But it keeps coming back to the Law that this is the mid-game here, really. I mean, this is where they have the chance to shine the most, perhaps. And it's with that Wombo combo, the Pestilence Initiation. He's got the Shrunken Head Portal Key. They're going to be pushing mid right here. They're going to force a fight out of the Hellborn team. I believe the Shrunken Head is just about finished on Archie Tiger as well. I think he has the Warhammer, and he just needs the pattern, so.
Not too far off indeed, and the Legion team, they're kind of moving up. They're definitely baiting a little bit, trying to get up this middle lane. They have a little bit of vision above them. That one's going to go in with the Shrunken Head here, and quick kill. Easy kill on Master of Arms. Now, are they going to be able to get this tower here, Breaky? Shrunken Head down on Pestilence. This is like a little bit questionable.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, the preemptive Shrunken Head right there, it's fine because, again, if anything, it was expecting some counter to happen.
Yeah.
But it didn't. So now with that being down, and vulnerability is going to come out right here. He's a little less threatening, and they will get the tower kill still, and they are going to fall back. And with a big kill to stop some TPs right there. Coming out from Bubbles. If anything, that's not going to result in any kills, but it also will keep Magnus continuing to push the bottom lane, and he might even get a tower kill out of this. Okay, no, there is a TP coming in now, and it is going to be Flux, and it will scare him off. He has a portal key, actually, but can now chase him down. So, but yeah, good initial stop coming out by Bubbles right there. That was. Shrunken Head is now finished on Magnus, with that said, as he was able to do some good farm at the bottom lane while that was all going on. By the way, Flux also, I haven't talked too much about him, but he's got the portal key, and he also has another 2,200 gold saved up. Look at the PKs, the 4 PKs over here on the Legion side. Even Beaver here on Engineer has got the portal key. He's playing that secondary support role, so
yeah,
a little more farm.
Tons of initiation potential, tons of follow-up potential here as well, Breaky. And yeah, definitely going to be quite interesting to see them use all those in succession because, as you talked about, that Wombo combo is going to be what they're relying on. But they've got a lot of anti-Wombo combo over here between the Magnus and the Tempest, as well as the Bubbles. I mean, with your Kelfield right there, definitely puts a stop to a lot of stuff with the Silence as well. Hellborn team, they're on the move. Going to try to find this Flux, but Flux is going to portal key on out of there. Might have seen the Ward of Sight dropped, but the Hellborn team invading this jungle, they'll try to get some farm from that. Meanwhile, the Legion team doing a little bit of counter warding, making inroads into their opponent's jungle on the other side.
Yeah, you see Arachnos actually going to get the hell on out of there, realizing what's taking place. So I guess what was wrong with Arachno, by the way? I could have sworn he would just about have the Shrunken Head, but I mean, he's sitting on only 500 gold now and still just with the Mighty Blade, so he must have just got the Warhammer and still needs the pattern now. So he's even a little bit further behind than I expected. But at this rate, if it keeps up, very likely could get it. But as I say that, the Law, they are grouping up top. They are trying to push it up here now. You see Keeper the Forest, of course, leading the way. Pestilence playing very passive nearby. Engineer there as well. Obviously, they have a lot of gotcha potential. So by now especially, the Ringers here, they are very aware of that. So they're definitely picking and choosing their fights very, very wisely. Magnus is level 16, by the way. Again, with the items that he's bringing to the table. So has that level 3 eruption here, at least I would hope so. Yep, level 3 eruption on him. Conqueror's up, hasn't been touched yet. Both teams, especially the Hellborn team, they've kind of been in the vicinity. But
they're running mid. They want this fight.
Magnus, he's telling the round, getting it off, he will. The Shrunken Head helps allowed to. Down goes Engineer right there. The Shrunken Head on Pestilence though, doing some work as well. Energy Field, Bubbles is caught in a really bad spot. He eventually is going to start running away. Give it the Force, has the rear, will he use it? No, he's not going to use it. He was sitting there that whole time, but he just didn't feel like his team was really ready right there. And in the end, the only casualty ends up being Engineer, actually.
Yeah, that definitely could have gone a lot worse for the Legion. And with big cooldowns like the Eruption and the Shrunken Head no longer being available, they might actually look to try to force something up top. And in fact, they're starting to head up there. Arachno was looking a little bit like a tasty morsel, but she's going to go ahead and fall back. And Breaky, I think that was actually a relatively recent change right there.
What's that?
That we saw Magnus channeling up the Eruption, hit the Shrunken Head in the middle of channeling it, and it didn't break. That's that's brand new, isn't it?
Is that? I guess it very likely could be.
I could be crazy here.
I don't know. I honestly don't know if that is new or not, but it seems like, yeah, he was able to do that right there, obviously in the middle of that eruption, and it worked out very, very well for them. So we do see at the bottom lane, you got Bubbles and, is that Torture? Bubbles and Tempest, excuse me. Bubbles and Tempest are going to be running away before they get caught. So the vision definitely continuing to come into play here between these two teams as instead, Product's 5 level will finish clearing out the jungle. He has another 1,800 gold saved up currently. So he's got the portal key, he's got the Shrunken Head. Pestilence is playing really more of that carry presence. So I'm very curious. I would think just really the Soul's Bulwark here would make a lot of sense. Soul's into Demonic would be the obvious choice. Or he could be going for more of the straight right-click threat with that Shield Breaker. I'm actually very interested to see where Brodix goes here. But the safer route, more the team fight route, which would make sense. The Soul's Bulwark probably would make sense here, coming out from him. But no, never mind. He gets, oh no, he's sold it, okay. So he bought the Warhammer, he sold it, he might be thinking, okay, he's gonna go the Soul's Bulwark in the end. So yeah, more of the team fight item makes sense in his situation. 2,400 gold on Keeper the Forest saved up in the meantime, so Resto Stone, very likely on the way for him. Spinning off Ancients on their own side.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a game changer as always, and definitely something that's going to force Arachna to be using the Hardened Carapace as well as the Shrunken Head, maybe a little bit more wisely, but she can always throw the Geometer's Bane on there as well, and if 2 solutions to a root are good, well, 3's even better, I suppose, and definitely something that fits into her core quite well. Legion team starting to group up here once more, and they're going to be trying to make their way over, but doing a really good job with the Bound Die. They've had this one for a few minutes now, and they've countered quite a few wards with it, so continuing to take down the vision from the Hellborn team, as the Ringers, their only vision is like over here in the opposing team's jungle.
Yeah.
Like, they really don't have a lot. They just dropped a brand new ward in their own jungle, but they're not able to really safely farm in a whole lot of places.
Yeah, it's proven to be a difficult game as this game picks up for that free farming, no doubt. 31.5 minutes. At the same time, though, both teams are pretty content on doing that here as this game has picked up. So obviously a lot of the action is from the earlier parts of the game. So Arachna, though, she... You know, again, this is an Arachna that was struggling to start. She's continued to progress, but only 345 gold per minute. So it's not a scary Arachna by any means. And you've also mentioned the idea of perhaps that Geometer's Bane extra line. That's still a ways off, though. Only 1,000 gold saved up. Still needs both the Blessed Orb and then eventually the Pattern, of course. So still some time. So it really makes you wonder when that window's going to be ultimately, especially from the Law. It's tough to say, though, because, again, it's not like Arachna's really exploding. So I don't know if they're necessarily in a rush here if you're the Law to make something happen, but at the same time, you are down 6,000 gold, 8,500 experience. Pestilence, he definitely has carry presence. I'm not saying he's not a carry presence hero by any means. I mean, you get him to farm a demonic breastplate here, perhaps a level 3 shield breaker on top of that. I mean, he's dishing out some pretty damn good damage, but at the same time, again, if Arachna also gets that top tier farm, she also has a lot of potential herself, so.
Yeah, she starts to put out a ton of damage, doesn't quite have the chasing potential that a Pestilence does have, but we'll have to see. You always got to consider the Wombo combo, though. I mean, that really does kind of amplify the presence of all the other heroes, namely this Pestilence, and we'll have to see. But right now, we're kind of in this passive phase where both teams are realizing that one hero pick, one bad team fight could put themselves in a very bad position in this game. So going to be playing a little bit more cautious, wait for more wards to get on the map, and maybe even try to fight this Conqueror eventually, but we'll have to see here.
Yeah. I mean, this overall goes back, again, this has been an action-packed game earlier on, but I think a little bit is starting to, we're starting to see the LAN presence come into play right here. Every single time we have a LAN like Dreamhack or whatever it is, I mean, it gets that point, especially the first game nerves. I mean, that is a real thing, no doubt. These players, it's our first games for both these teams. You know, we talked about their situations. You got the Ringers over here coming in last minute, forming their team. The Law, they're trying to prove to a lot of people that they can compete with the best of the best. So, you know, perhaps a little bit of that, the nerves are kicking in. You know, they want to make sure they do not make any big mistakes here that can ultimately throw the game. So I think that's kind of where we're at right now with these two teams. But as I say that, the Law is starting to move up here at the top side. They're using a little bit of the invis tactics here. They're going to run past some water revs, though. So I don't think this is going to be as sneaky as they're hoping for here.
Yeah, going to be getting all the way into the Hellborn jungle here, but Hellborn's gone. They're like, screw it.
See ya.
Guys, we're going over to the other jungle, pack it all up.
Yeah.
And we're heading on to the other side. So Legion team, they're going to be the ones chasing while the Hellborn are able to continue to really dictate their own pace. And definitely the Ringers are in an excellent spot right now, but they could be in a little bit worse one right here as Bubbles is going to get taken out. Wow. And that was just a really good positioning right there from Pestilence, able to get the portal key off when Bubbles did choose to use the portal key and no shell surf. So caught him out of position. And now the Legion team probably going to go for Kong.
Yeah, double damage room obviously helped big time there for Pestilence. In fact, yeah, they're going to go for Kong right now on top of that. He has it for another 21 seconds here. So
should be enough time, yeah.
That should be enough time. Bubbles is up in about 25. Bubbles has a buyback, by the way. He's sitting on 4,500 gold now. So he's trying to get towards that, you know, straight up sheepstick, I would guess. But in the end, it is going to be a free Conquer kill. You look what Magnus is doing, though, in the meantime. He is pushing the middle tower, getting it to... He might actually be able to kill it here. Ports are coming in. No, it's not going to happen.
He is very close, though.
Yeah, going to PK away. But he did put a lot of good damage on the tower lead. Making the best of a bad situation is what it comes back to.
There you go. And so great presence of mind right there by Saint, saying, hey, not going to be able to help out with the Kongor. So doing all that damage, and that definitely works out. But now Token of Life going to be here on Pestilence, allowing him to go even harder. He has the new Shrunken Head as well, and just about 400 gold away from a Demonic Breastplate, if that's what he actually chooses to purchase here. And that would be huge for Brodex. You talk about that carry potential. Demonic Breastplate is a huge part of that. The negative armor that he's going to be able to have, the attack speed, getting more gore procs off of that, it's definitely going to be big. And I think the Restoration Stone going to be finished up here on Keeper of the Forest in about another 1,000 gold. And when they get that, I think this is when we're going to see the Law really start to go hard and try to exert their pressure onto the opposing team, at least until they've got that Token of Life gone again.
You know, I want to address on something you were bringing up earlier, that the potential to farm in this game has been difficult, really for both teams, the Hellborn team especially, though, you know, finding the farm in the map. But I think this actually goes back to where we're seeing the farm on their team. Arachna, she's slowly progressing, but I feel like for how much non-fighting there's been these last 10, 15 minutes, it feels like she should be higher. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact Bubbles, Tempest, and especially Magnus have really been absorbing a lot of that farm. And that goes back to the idea, though, is that the most efficient thing by the Hellborn team? Should they be letting Arachna get that priority farm, or are they fine just spreading it out like they're doing? I mean, I think it's the answer is that obviously they're fine spreading it out like they're doing, but I wonder if that's actually going to backfire, because this Arachna, again, it keeps going back to if the same amount of gold, I mean, carry for carry, she's arguably the hardest carry in this game with that good farming, you know, competing against the others. But because of where it's at, she's not necessarily getting the best of farm. She's kind of just in between that mid stage. She is still prevented. She's still not the biggest threat. I mean, she is obviously, she's dangerous, but she's not as big as she could have been if they're prioritizing farm on her, basically. So Demonic, though, finished on Magnus with that set. I mean, seeing a full Demonic Breastplate on him, pretty damn impressive. 1,400 gold saved up on top of that. Again, I do kind of wonder, though, if that actually is the most efficient choice. Soul's Bulwark, I agree with. Full Demonic, though, seems almost a little overkill.
It's going to be a lot of armor. It's going to be a lot of armor, and that's when you're generally speaking dealing with two things here on the Legion team. You've got the Wombo combo potential, which is just a ton of magic damage and lockdown, and then you got the follow-up physical damage from Pestilence. If you're able to nullify the Wombo combo with the Shrunken Head, then you're able to nullify the follow-up physical from Pestilence by just having a ton of armor.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really just not going to be dying in a lot of senses right here. And at least it looks like right now, Ringers are just going to, they're giving up a tower. They don't want to have to fight into this Token of Life. And they might actually just try to trade a little bit right here with the racks already exposed in the middle lane. We'll see.
Yeah.
They might not choose to defend their base. I mean, who has TPs? They've all got to have TPs, right? They're coming back.
Tempest does not. Tempest does not have a TP.
Oh, boy.
This is interesting. So Papa Molly's just going to continue pushing. Now, if the Legion team picks up on that, they should feel pretty confident going here. Because without an element of fight, here we go, though. Bubbles jumps in. Magnus with a follow-up right here. Pestilence dropping quickly. Pestilence is going to fall. But now Bubbles, the energy field's doing so much work as always. He's going to fall. Pestilence coming back up. Look at that. The Spider Sting is going to be used. And now Pestilence having to kill that first. Tempest, by the way, he is porting in. No, he got canceled. Tempest got canceled back here by Torturer, and now he's in trouble. Back over here, Eruption's going off. Pestilence saw the lava surge. Pestilence will fall. The roof finally comes out a little bit too late to save his teammate, but it might be enough for some more kills. Master of Arms goes down. Magnus is in trouble. He's trying to get back to the well. He's going to be pulled back in. St. Rock's one more auto attack. Oh, Flux is going for it. He will kill him. And now Tempest, you see over here, he actually gets away. He did kill Tempest, or Torture, excuse me, but he is left here because he tried to get back. But he couldn't. He had to go to the well to get the TP. But Torture stopped him, and now Magnus is chasing.
Magnus is going to try to go for maybe one of the interrupts right here. And instead he's going to get nothing. So really unfortunate right there by Magnus. And I got to say, there were a couple of things right there that I wanted to point out in the team fight. For the Law, really great focus fire on the Spider. That's the only thing that actually kept Pestilence alive throughout that fight, was him turning around saying with his team, kill this damn Spider.
Yeah.
They kill it. He's able to get out of there. But what was with that late root from Znui? He didn't use any of his spells. I feel like maybe he was having issues there once again, because he didn't even use the Astrolabe in the middle of that team fight when it would have saved probably a couple of his teammates. If that's the case, I mean, rather unfortunate. This time he's got twice as many buttons to press, because he got that brand new shiny Restoration Stone here, Breaky.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny, because I wonder if he was waiting for Tempest to
Maybe.
use the ultimate, but at the same time, that should have been clearly communicated to him. I mean, that they were going to stop Tempest, which they ultimately did. So whether that was a lack of communication, whether it was just, you know, he just never found the true positioning, whatever. But in the end, yeah, I agree with you. It seemed like it was a little late. But talk about the Resto Stone on Keeper. Tempest is like, I got one of my own too. So the classic Keeper versus Tempest battle we got going on here. The double Resto Stone, the 2 shrunken heads on both of them. We definitely got a classic battle when it comes down to that. Meanwhile, actually, Master of Farms nearly getting caught out, but he actually turns around and Snooey's able to make his way out of there before he gets caught. Pestilence still wants blood, though. He is charging in. Flux pull back the stun on Pestilence. Magnus in the back. A lot of portal keys being used all over the place. Magnus actually trying to TP out. Oh, the Impale just out of range. He activated the Shrunken Head just to make sure. I think it was still out of range. I'm not actually sure, though, if that Impale would have actually hit or not. But anyways, he gets away. But he won't have that here.
I think if Brodux had been like a quarter second more patient, he would have stunned him out of that. But yeah, probably not. Melee Rax now being killed pretty quick. Magma's going to go in here. There's the energy field. Tempest Ultimate going to be going off here, and Pestilence taking a ton of damage. The first and second root going to be going off here. Magnus goes down, but the Legion team, they're in full retreat here, Breaky.
Yeah, but Magnus, he goes down. He tried to channel the Eruption, didn't get it off, but it doesn't matter. They're going to be winning this fight. Keeper the Force able to TP out, as well as the rest of them. Engineer going to walk away, but clearly a hold. And something we really haven't stressed yet about that last fight, even with the one before this, they got the melee racks in the end. So Tempest actually getting left behind almost was a blessing in disguise for them. He was able to help finish off the melee racks, and right now they're leading in that sense. And in fact, the overall Golden Experience lead is in their favor. So yeah, they hold at the base, and the Law kind of pounding their head against the wall right there. And now they're in trouble as they do not have buybacks here.
Yeah, really unfortunate. And once again, Snooey appeared to maybe have some problems. He missed the first route trying to cancel the Tempest Ultimate. And ended up using the second after the Tempest Ultimate was actually already over.
Oh, sequence, you mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You said Snooey.
Sorry.
Wait a second, Master?
Yeah, he missed his first route. Master has stolen that ability. It's his
Rift
now.
Tours all of a sudden. All right.
Oh, man. But yeah, unfortunate right there for sequence, and you really need to be hitting those. I mean, you definitely want to do 2 things when you're dealing with a Tempest as a keeper. Don't jump in the hole and then hit your route.
Yeah.
Interrupt it. And unfortunately, not doing that right there. So Pestilence goes down. And yeah, the Law, they end up not losing any bases right there. But they're still definitely in a pretty sour situation right here. They're really going to need to make this wombo combo work if they want to walk away with the win here in this best of one.
That's 100%. Again, it goes back to what they're relying on here in this game. They're trying to find a big kill on a Tempest. I'm pulling her Flux. The initiation of follow. Tempest is going to fall right here. He does not have a buyback. That's exactly the pick that they were looking for. And now they're going to go for the top base. But look at the bottom and the mid lanes, though. So this is actually still kind of an awkward spot for the Law. They want to push into the base with the Tempest kill, but Bubbles is doing a great job of pushing bottom, and look over the rest of the map. They're in the middle lane. In fact, Magnus is chasing Torturer. Pandy's going to be fine. Look at those auto attacks, man. This battle Magnus with the Demonic Breastplate clearly coming through and helping to finish him off. So this pickoff on Tempest, as big as it is, it's still not going to be the biggest deal in the world as Keeper has to fall back eventually, and that'll be the end of that push.
And meanwhile, Arachna minions in the middle lane might be able to actually take down a ranged Drax here. They're certainly working on it. I mean, it's a ranged Drax. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but they get it to like 10%. Then do have to die on a little bit of a timer right there. But overall, I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with Ringers Gaming right now, Breaky. We definitely know these guys as talented individuals, but we've seen from like all-star teams in the past. TMSR comes to mind. It takes a long time for you to really mesh.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, they're showing that even with this being like their first game together, they definitely got the basics going right here, and at least enough to put themselves in a really good position against the Law.
Yeah. I mean, they've really been in the lead this whole game, according to the stats at least. So it really keeps going back to that. I mean, I keep looking at this Arachna, and I expect her to be taken off, though. But again, that continues to be a case of she is not really taking off. 357 gold per minute. So I still look at that for the Law as being, okay, well, at least that is not happening. So you have your wombo combo. Pestilence is pretty scary with his farm. Frostal Skull looks like is in the works for Flux right here. You have a Resto Stone, of course, a double root on Cooper the Force. You've had that now for a little bit. So the wombo combo, and again, that still has a lot of potential here in their favor. But a Sheepstick finish on Bubbles, 2,500 more gold. Who knows where Magnus is going now, the 4,500 gold that he has saved up. A lot of gold being pulled up, specifically on the Hellborn team, really, as there's also even another 2,800 on Arachna. So those the next tier of items are going to be coming out here in favor of the Ringers. unlike the Law. But actually, it's going to be a Sheepstick. Okay, I was thinking Frosted Skull for some reason on Flux, which isn't out of the question because it's a solid item on him. But
yeah,
he's actually going Sheepstick, which I could definitely see being better too. So
Portal Key Sheepstick always going to work.
Yep.
For the Hellborn team, I mean, saving up these buybacks is going to be fine if they're fighting in the base or at Kongor. With Kongor so close to the base, you can definitely get back in there. But right now, Kongor just kind of running around, doing some circles right here. And it looks like this is probably going to be the scene for the next major team fight here, Break.
Yeah.
As both teams are trying to do some counter-fighting.
Yeah, we do see actually right here, Magnus in the meantime, he's going to port back from the top lane. So making sure he's not going to get caught out as he was actually pushing that by himself, of course. Middle lane, Pestilence is ready to jump somebody. He's got the flat active even, but obviously not going to be able to find any opportunity. He's been sitting on that Beast Heart, by the way, and I'm very curious to see what that eventually turns into. I mean, obviously something like an Elder Parasite even comes to mind,
yeah,
but he does have a Shrunken Head, so, and of course with the activation modifier, that would be, that would be interesting to see the least. But speaking of that, here we go. Pest is going to be jump. She's coming. There's the Flux Ball, though, with the Engineer. Shrunken Head's up all over the place. Master runs in the background. The Tempest ultimate going to be canceled out. The second one coming out. The rest of Stormfront Gamer, but he can't get in range. He was blocked by the trees right there. He finally gets in there, but the damage is already done. Bubbles to finish off Torture, and the Ringers are now in a huge, huge spot. What are they going to do? They're going Cutthroat here, Beef.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and march right up the middle lane here, Breaky. And it was a really nice interrupt from Keeper of the Force this time, but not able to get there for the second one, showing the Restoration Stone power. And they're going to go for it. Top lane. It looks like the tower is going to be taken out first here. And we'll see. The buyback situation, you have none available. So looks like this is probably going to be a clean and clear Rax right now, Breaky, as the Ringers are putting themselves in a very good position to go up 1-0 in this group.
Yeah, they really are, and who would have thought, right? But they are definitely in a great, great spot. The range tracks middle also going down. Yeah, look back at the last fight, though. They're definitely a significant thing. And again, I know you're bringing up earlier as a sequence, though. It's been an unfortunate game for him, to say the least, right there. The first one was good as you put it. The second route, though, for some reason, his pathing got screwed up in the trees right here. Instead of just going right back in to stop it, he actually went all the way around. I'm trying to draw it here with a box, but anyways, he went all the way around over here and eventually got in. And by the time he used his route, I mean, it was basically the full duration Tempest ultimate. So, to be honest, I don't know if that second ultimate was initially stopped, if it would have made the biggest difference in the world. It could have. We'll never know, though. It was late, unfortunately. And in the end, the Ringers coming on top big time. We obviously saw the end result, and they're really trying to finish off the game here. You see the Law. They know that they're kind of desperate now. They try to stop Kongor, but they couldn't get there even remotely in time. And that'll be the end of that. Now, I will say the Law, they still have all their buybacks, at least 2 on every single hero. But obviously, that's just one little positive that they have in this game right now.
When you're sitting down 2 full sets of racks, I mean, that's not going to matter to him. I mean, it could if you had like a super hard carry and or maybe a Tricore situation, but you're not going to be looking at that, at least right now with Pestilence and your Wombo combo. I mean, you just kind of got to make it happen the first time or it's not going to happen. And at least right now, they've got probably one more opportunity. And if they're not able to do it, we could very well be seeing the Ringers go up, Breaky. I could be winning our wager.
Yeah, you would bring that up. Bottom tower, obviously going down right there. Dancing Blade purchased by Arachna. Not going to be going for that full wing boat just yet. Obviously wants to save it for a buyback on top of that. So they're going to have to protect this bottom tower, but you do look once again in the middle lane. Here we go, the initiation. Big jump into Tempest. Tempest is going to fall. The Flux pulling right there. So the Wombo combo definitely coming in, but Tempest buys back. He doesn't have an ultimate for 15 seconds. In the meantime, though, Torture goes down. Sheepstick on a keeper. They will pick off Engineer, so the Wombo combo went off, but it wasn't enough, apparently. Magma's coming to the background. Give it the Force. He uses Restless Stone. He's trying to root. Will go overtime. It will stop the eruption, actually. But now Keeper's in trouble. Pestilence will fall. Keeper's going to be going on hat-trick for a book. Is it going to be a quad kill? It's not, but GG, well played. It's game number 1, and the series here will go to the Ringers. I mean, again, who would have thought, but the Ringers take the game, and they go up 1-0 here at Group B. The Law, on the other hand, will fall to 0-1 to start, so still they got 3 more matches to match up against, but that is a hurting loss there. That's a hurting loss for the Law. We'll see how that affects them moving on. But.
Yeah, it certainly is. When you're going up against teams like TMSR and Lions already, this needed to be a match that you were fighting for. With this one right here, this means that the Law will have to defeat either Lions or TMSR if they want to get past the group stage.
I mean, that's all.
It's as easy as that. You just got to beat Lions or TMSR. But, I mean, really, really well played to the Ringers break. I know both you and I, as well as a lot of other people here and at home, were questioning, what is this team going to be like? They're here to fight. They're here to fight, guys. And it's amazing what happens when you put St. Rocks on something other than Andromeda.
Apparently it is. Yeah, I know. He had a fantastic Magnus game there. To say the least, and that was a lot of fun to watch. So, yeah, like I said, going back to it, it really just feels like the fun play style. They're here to. They know that they're not. There's not a whole lot expected out of them in the Ringers, and I think we definitely saw a bit of that there in that game. I mean, they had a fun play style.
Yeah.
Although again, Architect on Arachna, the Arachna pick a little bit different. It didn't prove to have the biggest impact, but still, the team play was enough, and that's what matters. Is the W in the end. So. As we're going to be doing all throughout this event, though, obviously we are going to be taking a short break right here. We'll definitely look to grab an interview once again as well with the winners there from the Ringers, get their insight and what they thought about that game. But then we got our next match also. It's going to be coming up after the break. We got Stay Green going to be taking on Myth S2Y is the next series that we're planning to cast. And it seems like they actually might even be ready to go here in the very near future. So we might have to jump into that before the interview. But again, we'll get that taken care of. We'll get that looked at. Ladies and gentlemen, Dreamhack winner 2013 once again will continue here on Dreamhack TV. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.